You know what time it is? It's time to hang out with Mr. Coop. We're Mr. Cooper. We're Mr. Cooper. We're Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop. We're Mr. Cooper. We're Mr. Cooper. We're Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Big shout outs to everyone that's listening on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, wherever you're listening to. Big shout outs to you. If you want to catch the video version of this show, make sure you go to my website to catch full episodes at thebigscoopwithcoop.com. Also on YouTube at youtube.com/thebigscoopwithcoop. You can also catch a 15-minute preview of this episode right here on Instagram at Big Scoop with Coop. All right, people, enough about me. Today's guest, she is a best-selling author. She's a motivational speaker. She's also a mental and spiritual advocate. She has written many books that's helped a lot of people out in their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Richard Olivier. Now, once again, Morgan is a successful book author. She's going to come up here and talk about her career, her books, best way to travel, and much more. So make sure you sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of The Big Scoop with Coop with Morgan Richard Olivier.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. How's your day so far?
It's great. Weather's great, very productive. So I've been excited to actually have this interview with you today.
Nice. I'm in North Carolina, so I'm enjoying the summer weather. I've been waiting for this weather. Allergies are killing me, but guess what? I'll take that over the cold any day. Most definitely. I definitely will. Now, Morgan, I'm glad you're on the show because today I am introducing a new segment of the show. And it's called Have You Heard? So I'm going to bring up a random topic over at Have You Heard? Let me know if you heard about it and tell me your thoughts about it. Okay, Morgan?
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay. So Morgan, have you heard that people that reads, well, before I even tell you, let me ask you this. We know you're an author. We know you write books. Are you a heavy reader also?
You know, that's a common question. And you always think people that read a lot, but I don't really sit and read novels. I like to, read articles, things of that nature. I read constantly, but never the fiction or things of that nature, but I love to read. Yes.
Well, see, there you go. It doesn't have to be fiction, nonfiction. That's good. So have you heard that regular reading reduces stress levels by 68%? And 50% of the people that read going to bed have better sleep than people that don't read. Have you heard about that?
No, I have not.
Wow. So what are your thoughts about that? Do you believe that's true?
Of course, I 100% believe that's true. I didn't know the statistics. I didn't know of that, but it makes very valid sense, especially when it comes to what you fixate on before you rest. 9 times out of 10 is what you dream about. It really sets your energy before, you go to bed. So that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So true. Now, Morgan, we're going to get into it real quick because, like I said, you've done a lot of things in your career. Your career is nowhere close to being over. But for the people that's getting introduced to you for the first time, when did you first realize that you wanted to become a book author?
So it was around, I would say 2017. And I can't answer the question without saying that it was a prophecy to me. I talk a lot about mental health and spiritual health, but nothing like a good prophetic word in church will open your eyes to say, okay, this is not what I'm seeing. I was in construction and marketing, but yes. So, but everything I'm walking in, ordered steps, is exactly what was told to me.
That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people, now me, I'm spiritual. I believe in God, and I do believe that people will get a word. And if you have a feeling that manifests inside of you and you have a strong feeling for it, I'm one of the people that believes that you can do it. It's going to happen. There's a reason why it's planted inside of you for a reason. And with you
Right.
getting that spark inside of you, that shows.
Mhm.
And it went on and on. Now, that's amazing that you started off in construction and now
Yeah.
where you're at now, one of America's best-selling authors. That is crazy of a turnaround in your life. And you got to give nothing but glory to God for that.
All of it. All of it.
Yes, yes. Now, Morgan, did you have any mentors when you first said, I'm going to sit down and put pencil to paper or key to laptop or fingers to laptop? Did you have any mentors to help you out to advise you throughout your stage?
So at the very beginning, it was a lot of trial and error. Because you have to think when I first started writing, it was really those innermost thoughts and emotions and experiences that I was going through that I felt, maybe people wouldn't understand, or I didn't even know or feel safe to express them in that way, if that makes sense, in your 20s. So a lot of that came from diving deep into therapy, diving deep into my faith. If I couldn't express it to another person, I would write it. So my first book wasn't published till 2020, but I started writing it in 2017, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Now, I'm glad you brought that up, Morgan, because that's what I want to talk about right now. Your first book in 2017 that was published in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, it was called Question Christ and Quarter Life Crisis. Now, how did you come up with that title? What motivated you to get that title for the book?
Well, number one, it's a very long tongue twister now that we say it, but that was the best way to describe it because I was 25 and I feel too, 25 to 35, we know this, you typically have those, what am I doing here? What's my purpose? You just question everything. And for me, on top of questioning, I was doing a lot of self-discovery and also discovering who I am in God and how, having faith and divine strategy really works. So it made sense for me. And a lot of things that I wrote, it was very vulnerable, very raw, but I wrote it because I felt like the 25-year-old version of myself needed that and it wasn't available. So if you can't find the book, you write the book.
Ooh, that's deep right there. And you know what? I'm glad you said it because it is hard to find a book, that would give that advice that'll uplift people. And I'm not gonna lie, Morgan, I've seen online how a lot of people have your book and all over social media, YouTube, they're quoting the things right out of your book. And I know you realize it, but have you ever thought deep about how many lives you have changed off of all of your books? Because you have touched a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very humbling. And I think it's one of those things I always tell readers, as much as people tell me, you understand me, or I feel like I'm not alone. It's a double-edged thing because as the writer, it's showing me too that I'm not the only one that feels this way or has felt this way or have had certain struggles. So I feel it's a community in itself when you can lead with vulnerability and empathy.
Wow. Wow. Now, have you ever wrote something in any of your books? We're going to talk about more of your books, but have you ever wrote something and it even hit you in the heart after you wrote it? Like you was like, dang, where did that come from? Or that really applies to me. Have they ever hit you like that?
Well, they usually hit me hard when I write it because you have to think, you read these things, but I'm in an emotional space where I have to tell myself, okay, for you to go through, if you're talking about pain or you're talking about condemnation or resentment, yes, you're seeing 3 sentences, but I'm replaying everything as I'm writing them. So that's how the emotion is on paper, because I have to relive or be vulnerable with myself and say, okay, whether it's accountability, say, okay, you struggle with this, or because everyone loves to say iron sharpens iron, but no one wants to say I have toxic traits too. I have immaturity. I have things that I need to fast and work on. We all do. So in a lot of ways, all the books, it's amazing to look back and see how my mindset has shifted. And I'm grateful that I've shared things. I can look at some things from like my first poetry and prose collection, and I'm like, man, that really hit, but that sounds passive aggressive. But you know what? It needed to, because that's how I felt. So it's just being honest with yourself.
Wow. Now, Morgan, have this ever happened? And these are curiosity questions I'm having right now because I believe it's the year 2024. If you go back and open up your first book in 2020. Does it reopen wounds, or is
Oh, yeah.
it more of a I'm glad I got over this hill or this hump, or is it a little bit of both? How is it working?
It's a little bit of both, because I feel everyone says you don't look back, don't look back, but how do you benchmark if you don't look back? Like, how do you see how much you've grown, how much you've matured, how much your faith has bolstered if you don't look back? And I actually went through that at the beginning of the year, because I was going to do, all my audiobooks, which I still need to do. But I started reading my first book, and it's not, I don't want to say that it opened old wounds, but you ever look back at things in your life personally, and you look at old things with fresh eyes and new wisdom? And
Yes.
instead of being so hard on that person, you have a lot more compassion and understanding, because you realize, like, you're not invalidating the former version of yourself, but it was a molehill because you had such limited exposure. Things were a whirlwind because you didn't understand maybe experiences or emotions or how the world worked or whatever. It was crumbling for you. But now that you've learned and you've grown and you've matured and you've gained some wisdom, you look back at that person, and a lot of your healing is giving that lowest form of yourself the highest amount of compassion. So it's healing.
Wow. And that's true. That's very true. And I think a lot of people that's read your books and own your books, they go back when they feel like a little bit of that hurt comes. And they go back and open your books and reread and say, okay, Morgan said this. I'm going to do this. It worked once, it's going to work twice.
Yeah.
And I see that. Now, big shout outs to everybody that's watching worldwide right now. Guys, if you have not got her books, make sure you go get her books. Not right now. You're watching this interview. After this interview, you go get these books. That's right. You heard Morgan. I don't have to say it. She said it after this interview. Make sure you go get her books, because if you need a spiritual healing, of course, we know we have the Bible. We do have that. If you're trying to hear, exactly, if you're trying to read from another person's, not perspective, but what they've been through, and trying to show you the way also, get Morgan books. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot. Now, Morgan, let's talk about there's a few other books that you have written. You have The Tears That Taught Me. You also have your newest book, One Still Whisper, and what is it, The Strength That Stays? Those books right there. How excited are you of the success of these people getting these books, and how it's actually helped you? How excited were you when you found out these books were selling?
Oh, I mean, obviously very excited. You're always joyful when you're because I always said this, even when I was not an author and speaker full time, this is my purpose work. You can have a profession, but then there's something that you're actually born and here to do. So of course, as I see it grow on social media and sales and just all over the world, of course, I'm extremely excited, but I'm very grateful and I'm very humbled, because again, nothing you go through is just for you. And sometimes you just need to be that person that you needed. And I feel like these books show that to the person reading it, and also reaffirms that within me.
Nice, nice. Now, Morgan, how hard is it to get your book from a thought in your mind down on paper through publishing and out to the world? Is that are those stressful steps that are taken?
Well, it's a process, it's not something that's done overnight, but I feel too, like with anything, the more you do it, the more comfortable you are. And you realize a lot of stress comes from believing that you have limitations that you actually don't. Like for me, I'm an independent author. So I own the publishing, I own everything. So there is nothing where I wonder if I could write this, or I could share this, or this is too personal, or no, that doesn't exist. So it literally, I write all the time. I write at the most random places. I could be driving and I'll turn on the voice memo and I'll record myself. But yeah, but it's a constant, it's kind of one of those things, and that I'm sure you know that with your gift is the more you use it, the more you gain. You're constantly growing and healing. So of course you're always going to have more insight and more to share.
That's true. I remember I had a few other book authors on my show, and they have talked about They were independent also, some of them. And they said they like that they don't go through the traditional book publishing and they do their stuff on their own because they feel like they have more grasp on it.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way? Even though you kind of said that, but do you feel the same way?
I feel the same way, and I don't by any means look, poorly in the other direction, because many independent authors actually do a mix of both. They might do a book or two with a publisher, and there's obviously other advantages of doing that. But yes, I could say for myself, it's liberating when you do it that way.
Nice, nice. Now let's go into these new books that you have out right now. One Still Whisper. Now, can you tell everybody about this book and what this book is about?
So One Still Whisper really came from me doing the Daniel fast. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Of course, do it every year.
Oh, okay. So I did it in January of 2023. And you have to think, for me, I was leaving 2022, and I'm a person, I pray for revelation. So a lot of times, like, I'll discuss the importance of being still and being silent. And it's not to silence someone's truth or anything of that nature, but if you want information, you need to close your mouth and open your eyes. So in 2022, you have to think, I just published The Tears That Taught Me. It's extremely successful. And I'm in this place where I am praying and pleading to God, if there are any hindrance within me, if there are any hindrances around me, I will turn the other cheek. I will keep my composure, but you have to show me, because I can't get out of this year ignorant, And when I tell you, when you pray that Amazon Prime prayer for revelation, it hits you so hard. But I did that, and I realized, getting out of that year, I needed to fully detox my mind, my body, and my spirit so I could fully focus. So in doing that, all during the Daniel fast, I wrote a lot about what I was feeling and the revelations, and it turned into One Still Whisper. And that's literally, that One Still Whisper is hearing God's guidance. And everyone focuses so much on ordered steps, but we fail to appreciate and pray for ordered stops. And that's really what One Still Whisper is about.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. That's deep. Because if you're coming off the Daniel fast and you're writing this book, that means that your mind is so in tune with God right there. And of course, he's going to give you a clear answer right then and there. That's a book, ladies and gentlemen, that's watching worldwide. I will advise for you to go get One Still Whisper, especially if you're going through something. And if you're just coming off of fasting, especially the Daniel fast, and you're trying to figure out what's next, and if you're new to it, this right here will help you out. Now, Morgan, can you tell everybody how they can actually get all of your books?
Well, they can go on modernmorgan.com. I have all my books available there, as well as ebooks. And they can also go on other online retailers such as Amazon, Barnes & Noble. But yeah, they're all available online.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress it enough. I know I sound like a parent right now. Go get these books. Put it in your book collection. If you have a book, if you're a book collector, get Morgan books. If you're not a book collector, you're trying to find your way, get Morgan books. Get them for your family, get them for your friends, get them for your associates. You know what? Get them for your haters, because they need them too. They definitely need them too if they're your haters. Make sure you go get these books. Morgan, give them that website one more time where they can get them from.
It's www.modernmorgan.com.
Nice, nice. Once again, after this interview, make sure you go to the website, tell everybody about it. Do like everybody else is doing. They're grabbing a book, they're holding it up like this. You can almost see tears coming out of their eyes because they have changed their lives. Make sure you get these books. Morgan, have a lot of people ever approached you and just like, thank you? I mean, they didn't know what to say, but they said thank you. How often does that happen to you?
That happens more often than you would think. I actually went to Vegas, and I was shocked that someone recognized me there. But between that and social media, a lot of messages, it's a lot of people very grateful. And I'm very grateful too, because that takes humility to tell that to a person. So it's a good community.
Wow. Wow. Now, Morgan, do you have any other projects that's going on that you're trying to start on or you're working on that you want the world to know about?
Yes. So, I'm always a person, I move in silence, but I can say that there are a lot of great projects underway aside from doing a lot more speaking opportunities, because that's the thing. If you're the gift is words, you're a writer and a speaker. So I'm definitely getting out. I have 3 book signings next week, actually, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. I'm going out there, and I'm also currently working on another work, and I'll be announcing some details for that in the very near future.
Wow. Stay tuned to Morgan, people. You better stay tuned to her. This woman is traveling summer everywhere. Now, speaking of traveling, Morgan, I've seen you go, you're Louisiana, San Francisco, Nashville, Las Vegas, and so many other places. What is the best way to be comfortable while you travel? There's a lot of people on planes all squished up. People get the little seat cushion to go around the neck. What is your ideal of the best way to be comfortable while traveling?
This is going to be a very Louisiana answer. Just make sure you're full. If you're going to be uncomfortable, at least be uncomfortable and full, you know? So that's always my little thing, but I'm just very grateful. I'm sure you could see too. I'm actually in the middle of a move. So this is just yeah, it's just an amazing season. I'm just very grateful for everything.
And you know what? When you said be full, you know what that remind me of? Have you seen the commercial? I think it's the AT&T commercial where they're on the plane and it was like the people can get food or water if you're the VIP guest. And it's the lady. Oh man, I can't remember her name, but she's the main person that represents AT&T. They're on the plane. There's a guy across from her. They said, "Do you want anything to eat?" She said, "Yes, I like to have a sandwich." She was like, "That'll be $23." And they said, "You know what?" They said the food is free on this plane. And they said, "No, this is for our VIP people." So thinking about that AT&T watch, it's gonna pop up on your television.
Right.
It's gonna pop up when
Now
you.
that you brought it up.
Yep, it is. And I just thought about you when you just said be full, because
Cool.
you better go on that before you get on the plane. People eat before you get on the plane because it costs more than just tickets. You want something to drink? You better go. You better hurry up because it might start charging you to use the bathroom soon. So you better hurry up. I'm telling you, do everything in the airport, people, before you go. Do it. You heard her. Be full before you get on that plane. That's what I'm talking about. Now, what's the best way for everyone to follow you on social media?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Modern Morgan, as well as on TikTok at Morgan Richard Olivier. But yeah, I'm on uploading videos, uploading just inspirational, encouraging messages, because I feel like we need that. We definitely need that in this world.
So we can get these messages even outside the books. Of course, I've seen your website. I'm following you on social media and everything. And you post a lot of quotes. And those quotes can help people throughout every day of the week. So I'm telling you, Morgan, right now, please do not stop posting. Continue to do that. I'm telling you, because I'm for a person that's outside of your body right now that needs to tell you right now, Morgan, you are doing great things. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to write. Continue to post, because Morgan, you don't know how many people you have helped out in this world. So I'm telling you right now, people you haven't met yet, trust me, you're going to run into them. Do not stop what you're doing, Morgan. You're doing a great thing. Continue to do what you do. I had to say that right now and get it off my chest. Please continue.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yes, yes. Now, far as it goes, for one more thing I want to talk about, far as it goes for your books. Now, it's motivational, it's poetry, and feel like real life poetry. Have your family, any of your family members, read your books and came broken down crying to you? When I say family, it don't have to be immediate. It could be anybody that you call family.
I've had family members that I've gained closer relationships with them, because that's the thing. And we're going to get on that spiritual conversation again, because we always end up there. But everyone loves to talk about being a generational curse breaker until they are one. And with that understanding, that means that not all of your family is going to support you and see you and love that about you. But it also means that some of your family members are going to fully see you, appreciate that, and resonate with you, because what you've been through or what you're feeling, they are so deeply immersed in it, they just don't articulate it. So I feel like in a lot of ways, I'm the youngest grandchild on my dad's side. So I have cousins that are 25 years older than me. So for them, it's kind of like they look at me like I have wisdom as much as I look at them as they have wisdom. And you can really pour into each other and help each other and be vulnerable, and not vulnerability in a way that you have to be fearful of what you say, but fully know that this person sees you, feels you, and wants to be there for you and with you. So I don't know. I just feel, again, that all things work together. And just going back to your question about before you go on a plane, I feel like the faith journey is the same way. Of course, we need to be full, but honestly, if you're going on a journey with God, you have to be tapped into him. He is the pilot of your life. You have to know that as you go higher, professionally or personally or spiritually, there will be turbulence, but there will also be opportunities and avenues and people aligned on that way to help you and get you where you need to go. And I feel like if we look at it as all things working together, there's a lot more peace and gratitude in that journey.
Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, watch worldwide. I hope you're taking out these nuggets that Morgan is saying. There will be turbulence. I don't care what you are. If you're a plumber, I don't care, all the way to a CEO. Continue to go and be that best plumber you can be the best CEO you can be the best entrepreneur you can be. But remember, it's not smooth sailing. God never said that he's going to take you on a smooth ride. He's going to try to help you get to where you need to get to. But there will be trouble, but that's when your faith had to kick in, and you have to believe that God will still continue to take you through the way. I love it, Morgan. I love it. Now, Morgan, what advice would you give any male or female that wants to become a book author?
Well, just start writing. I know it sounds very simple, but everyone thinks that you have to have everything so organized and you have to have these drafts and this manuscript in mind. And that's not how, at least that's not how I do it. If there's something on your mind, write it. You might not use it for 2 years. You might not even put it in your final manuscript, but you have to plant that seed. So once you get things out of your mind and onto paper or in your notes app like me, it's easier to put it together because the story or the manuscript or the testimony starts telling itself.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about, people. You heard her. If you want to become a book author, look, just write, type, get your thoughts out. Trust me, it's going to transform into a sentence, that sentence into a paragraph, that paragraph into a page, that page into a chapter, that chapter into a book. You know what to do. That's what I'm talking about. Just write. Now, Morgan, it's time for the last segment of the show. It is called Take the Floor. You have up to 2 minutes to say whatever you want. No questions asked. Morgan Olivier, take the floor.
Okay. So of course, for 2 minutes, I could tell you all about my social media and how to find me and my books, but I feel like I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to just give you one word for you to fixate on and to pray about. And before you go to sleep, like you started this, replay it in your mind. And that word is believe. And believe in what God has told you, believe in what you know to be true. And also understand that no one in this world has to believe you, see you, understand you for you to have the purpose that you have. You just have to believe in what God told you to do. And you have to believe that you have the authority and talent and capabilities to do it. So short and sweet, but if more people would believe, especially in their toughest seasons, that not only will they get through the season, but heal and thrive, it would change their life and it changed the lives of so many other people. But the core, the foundation of it is belief. And that's
Wow. It. Wow. You heard it here first, people. Morgan Richard Olivier, thank you very much for coming on the show. Everyone, make sure you go to our website. Make sure you follow her on social media so you don't miss these next projects that's coming out. Look at her quotes, read her quotes, apply it to your life. Also, people read the Bible. Make sure you do that also, but get all of her books. You want to make sure you have these in your collection. These are great to pull off, to read at any time. Go to these, go to Barnes & Nobles, go everywhere you can find these books at. If you don't see it in your bookstore, request for it. make sure you get these books. Now, Morgan, I'll thank you once again for coming on the show, and I would love to have you back on in the future.
I would love to come back. Just invite me. I'll be here.
I love it.
And thank you.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, on the next episode of Big Scoop with Coop, my next guest is, you know I don't never announce my next guest. You better follow me on social media at Big Scoop with Coop to find out who the next guest is, the latest and greatest. Once again, make sure you follow Morgan on social media. You don't want to miss nothing she's doing. Until the next episode of the Big Scoop with Coop. Peace.